Hey y'all, it's Michael, and let's keep going. It's getting late, in case you can't tell. Okay, the first book that I want to talk about is The Cook's Seed, a memoir by Anchee, narrated by Angela Min. This is Anchee Min's memoir. She basically talked about how she, during the revolution, not the American Revolution, the Chinese during the Mao reign, how she is in Mao's court. She basically moves to the US, her struggles, and about her like learning English and having her child, getting married, about getting her green card, etc, etc. I would say this is like an immigrant story. Like if I had to boil it down, this is what this is. I always have a hard time with memoirs, how to rate it specifically, because I always feel bad because this is someone's life that they're willing to tell you, and I don't really know how to fairly judge a book like that. In my opinion, there's only one person that can truly judge you, and the only time I feel like I can fairly judge a memoir is like if it was a lie, like A Million Little Pieces or something like that, because you basically lied to your readers. But anyways, with that, I digress. But a critique that I felt about this book though is that it is not personally about her life, it's the way that the book is written. It's really long. I kind of felt like it was too long. There were parts that could have been cut out and the story still would have made sense. And some parts I felt as though didn't really add anything to the overall arc. Again, like I said, some parts could have been cut out and I think it would have been more precise and just to the point essentially. I think what really irked me about this was not even the book itself, because I gave the book 3 stars out of 5. I really did enjoy it. The thing was about people commenting, because what I like to do is after I finish a book, because I have my own idea about the book and what I think about it. I love to watch book reviews, because I save them on my watch later list and then I just go through them after I finish reading a book, or I go through the Goodreads website and read through reviews. I tend to skim over the 5 ratings because I already, if I enjoy a book, I already know I love it. I tend to go towards the 2 stars, 1 star, and I felt some type of way. Some people were saying there's no way she could have written Red Azalea, that's her first book, with her trying to learn English, blase blase, and oh my gosh, I can't believe that she was trying to get a green card, she was just trying to get married and trying to get a green card. First off, what I have to say about this was that I don't think people know this, because when you are learning a language, first off, from an Asian learning English is one of the hardest languages to learn, and I don't think a lot of people understand it. It's really similar to an English-speaking person trying to learn Chinese. It is really hard, trust me, and going back and forth, actually writing and reading it is much easier than speaking it. I can attest to that. It's the way your brain works and the way you process information that it's really different, and I was really mad at that because when people wrote that, because I don't think people understand that at all. There's obviously editors that's gonna correct her English, it's duh. And second, about the green card. First off, people die to come to this country, and when I say they will do anything, whether that be morally correct, that they will do it. Whether you agree with her or not, this is just her story that she's saying. But what really irked me, what people were saying, was that how could she make her 7-year-old work? That's wrong. I think that really irked me. I think that comment just really irked me, because during this point, I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but at this point of her life, they were struggling. When I say struggle, the phrase "the struggle" doesn't even compare to the point at where they were at. They were struggling so much with money and what was happening in their life that yeah, she had to make her kid work because there was no other way for them to survive. She was the only person willing to, that she knew that could help her. And yes, did she know? you know what? I'm not getting mad. I'm not gonna get mad because I can go on and on about this, but that I felt like that was just so. That was just. If I were in her same situation and I had a kid, it was just me and my kid. Yeah, I would make my child work because we are in this situation. You also have to think that her growing up, she worked. Like, she had to do things because of the situation that she was in with this communist country and what she was forced to do. I actually enjoyed the book. It was really nice to see someone coming from during this time period, during Mao's reign. The last few videos have been all about audiobooks, and let me tell you why. I have been listening to audiobooks a lot because I was reading physically one book. Where is it? I don't even want to take it out. I'm just gonna put the picture here because I don't want to move. And that is Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. This book is not even long. I could have read this in a day. I went into this book with the most highest anticipation. Not even the highest like expectation, it was anticipation. I was so hyped to start this book because in my head I was thinking, I saw that huge blurb that says one of the best books of the decade. I was like, ooh. I don't think hate is the word that really describe how I feel about this book, because I really did not like this book. I think it broke the #1 rule for me. Yeah, your book has to have great writing, great characters, etc, etc, great structure, great pacing, blah blah blah, all of that. But the #1 thing that I always expect books to do for me is to entertain me. Because I can, especially fiction. This is fiction. Because I'm reading fiction, this is a hobby. So I want to be entertained. I want to have fun. I think that's like the #1 thing that, for me personally, like that a book cannot, it has to be fun. And it doesn't have to be fun like, ooh, like, you know, but still entertaining. It has to keep me engaged. And this book broke that rule. Like, it took it and broke it and then broke it again. This book was boring. I was so bored. Even by page 25, I was like, okay. It was still a little bit intriguing, but by the time I got to page like 50, I was like, oh my god, please. I was like, I could not read more than like 10 pages at a time. I literally had to force myself to read this book because and I don't know why. I should have DNF'd it, but I didn't. And I was just so mad that I fell into this trap again. I felt really disappointed because this author is highly regarded. And I was like, oh my gosh, I knew this book was going to be great. A lot of people love this author. And I wanted to see and understand. I wanted to literally jump on that bandwagon. I was like, yes, I love his books too. But after reading this, I don't want to touch any of his books. I wouldn't say ever, but in a really long time. Like, I kind of don't even want to watch the movie. Like, I kind of feel like I'm done. I didn't really care about the characters. The writing was just, I felt like it was just, like, okay. And then the story was just, I was like, oh, okay. Like, I literally didn't feel anything from this book, and I was just so disappointed. Like, I felt let down. I felt really sad, actually, that I didn't like this book. It's like, yeah, I didn't like this book. I felt so sad and disappointed. Yeah, and that's why, like, this was one of the only physical books that I read during this month, and it wasn't even long. It was just dragging on, and I was just like, okay. So yeah, those are 2 books that I read for Asian Pacific Island Heritage Month. If you read any of the books, let me know what you think about them. Let me know your opinions. I would love to hear them. So yes, until then, I'll see you guys till I don't know how many more books I have. I think I forgot about 1 book in here. So yes, until then, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!